Hello everyone, I would like to show you how to make sandwich bread with Lievito Madre. It's a bread that's made without yeast, but using a leavening agent called Lievito Madre. For this recipe I'm not using any tools or special equipment since we are here in Airbnb overseas. We are really far away from home. So if you're just like me, stuck in a place where you don't have a lot of equipment, this recipe might be interesting. Lievito Madre is really popular in Italy, where it's used to make panettone, pizza, bread. Its principal quality is that it can be used in recipes requiring very long fermentation period. So for this bread I will need 125 grams of Lievito Madre, composed of 50 grams of starter, 50 grams of flour and 25 grams of water. Just like when you prepare sourdough bread, the leavening agent needs to be refreshed. The only difference here is the refreshing method that consists in kneading the dough several times to make it soft and strong at the same time. This is very crucial for the rest of the recipe. The Lievito Madre has been refreshed, and the main purpose of the kneading is to give force to the starter. Once it's done, you place it in a jar and you leave it at room temperature for several hours. Hopefully it will triple in volume. This is how it looks like after 5 hours. And this is how it should be right before starting the kneading process. Once your starter is ready, the Lievito Madre is ready to be used. You need to prepare 400 grams of all-purpose flour, 185 grams of water, 85 grams of milk, 35 grams of sugar, 10 grams of salt, and 40 grams of butter, soft butter. First, you mix the water, the sugar, the milk, and the salt all together. And then you will give a bath to the Lievito Madre to try to incorporate liquids to make it softer before incorporating the flour. This first kneading phase is just a rough kneading to be able to leave the dough for the autolyse phase. Once everything is incorporated, just cover with a clean towel and leave it for 30 minutes at room temperature, and then process with the second kneading. As you can see, the dough is already starting to be smooth. Just form a tight ball and cover it for another 30 minutes. This third kneading phase is going to be a little bit longer since we are going to incorporate the butter, the soft butter. I am only showing you the main parts of the kneading phases since it's a very long process. Just keep in mind that when you incorporate the butter, the dough is gonna start falling apart. But keep on kneading and it will eventually stop sticking and you'll be able to form a tight ball. The main issue here is not kneading enough and being stuck with the very sticky dough. You can see after a while I will start slapping and folding the dough, and it will become less sticky and very supple. I will not show you the slapping phase as it's too long, but keep in mind that It needs to be for at least 10 minutes. As you can see now, the dough is not sticky anymore, and you can easily form a round ball. You just put it in a bowl and cover it with the towel. After 30 minutes, we will knead the dough for the last time before the proofing phase. So when you're done kneading the dough for the last time, just place the dough in a tight container. After 30 minutes, you will give it a fold. I took the dough out of the container just to show you how elastic it was, and you also be able to test the gluten. After 30 minutes, you will give it another fold. After 30 minutes, you will give it a last fold before leaving the dough to proof at room temperature for 2 hours and then going to the fridge for 18 hours. After 2 hours, the dough is ready to go to the fridge for a long proofing period of 18 hours. The next day, as you can see, it has doubled in size. Take it out of the fridge and just let it rest at room temperature for 30 minutes. On the counter, just form a tight ball without stretching too much. Cover with the ball on the counter and leave it at room temperature. After 30 minutes, you'll be ready for the final shaping. So you will need to prepare a sandwich bread mold. uh, lined with parchment paper or greased as you want. There are several techniques of shaping the bread. The one that I'm using here is a technique for a sandwich bread. You just roll it on itself a few times. You will need to tighten the dough at the same time you roll it like a cigar shape. It needs to be very well tightened so it doesn't crack or form an air pocket when baking. Once it's placed in the sandwich bread mold, it will go for a final proofing time of 3 hours. I'll usually place it inside a plastic bag and leave it inside the oven with the light on. The bread needs to double in size before you bake it. That's when you know that the proofing phase is over. Once the proofing phase is over, preheat your oven at 450. Once your oven has reached the 450 temperature, lower it to 430 and bake the bread for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, lower the temperature to 390 degrees and keep on baking for an additional 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, the bread should look like this. As you can see, it has tripled in volume. Bear in mind that this bread is entirely prepared without yeast, only Lievito Madre, which is a type of starter just like sourdough. So this was the recipe for the sandwich bread made with the Lievito Madre without any yeast. As you can see, the crumb is very soft. It has a very crunchy crust. It's the perfect bread to make sandwiches or toast. You can keep it stored in a plastic bag for several days. It will stay fresh for a longer period of time. I would like to thank you for watching, and hopefully you have enjoyed and learned something today. Thank you.